For example, now many would by now know that we are bringing you this program from Paro, and a consultative mediation training for female local leaders is going on here in Paro, and we'd like to know and we'd like to get as many as possible some ideas and skills out of this training program held here in Paro. And this training has been going on for almost 2 weeks. And from this training, we would like to know the benefits, the challenges that the local female leaders are facing or would face or would like to carry forward while they move on with their responsibilities, a new kind of responsibilities shared upon them by Bhutan National Legal Institute. So to move on, let me introduce my panelists here. Firstly, on my right, I have Mr. Pema Wangchuk, who is the Honorable Director for Bhutan National Legal Institute. And I have Ms. Kyenchul Lam, who is the Geok Administrative Officer of Wancha Geok. Ms. Lemo, Geok Administrative Officer, Gasolo Geok, Kasachogom Geok, and that's in Wanglifodang. I have Mr. Thachin, who is the Honorable Judge, who is currently on special duty to Bhutan National Legal Institute. And finally, I have Ms. Karma Choyton, who is the Geok Administrative Officer of Kaling Geok in Trashigangla. I would like to welcome all of you. And also I have a vibrant and very active looking young, energetic women here. And unfortunately, we could have only 1 or 2 males at the back who would also want to contribute if they wish to. And as informed earlier, we have Geok Chokbas, Mangmis, and Geok administrative officers attending this workshop. So that's why we would not exactly stick to English as a medium of this program. If those of you who wish to speak in Dzongkha can speak in Dzongkha, so that I, as a moderator, will try to get some translation done for you. Thank you so much for that. Firstly, to start with Mr. Pema Wangchuk, why females? I've been going through your program in Dzongkha session, and Levikarma did ask the same question. Why females? Did you train enough males so that you resort to only females, or any other specific reasons why females?
In first place, I, on behalf of Bhutan National Legal Institute, would like to express my gratitude to Dawa and BBS and your whole team. To answer your question, last year we have trained 205 Mangmis in 3 regions. The information that we could gather from that training was there were very few female participants. That was one reason that we wanted to have more number of women in the Geok with the required skills for mediation. And number 2, when we assess the annual report, the judicial annual report of 2013, the institute got this information that there were 4,393 cases, were matrimonial cases. So we could assess that half of the parties involved in that matrimonial cases were women. So from that analysis, if women mediators, the number of women mediators are more in the Geoks, then the parties come before for mediation, they would be more comfortable to express anything issues that is related to women. So therefore, considering all these positive aspects, we have gone in for gathering the women local leaders. But it doesn't mean that we are biased in the sense that we want to neglect and then we want to promote female or male. So from Legal Institute, we are on the equal forum to train women as well as male in the local leaders. Yes, so these are some of the reasons why we are training women local leaders this year.
Okay. Ms. Kyenchul, did you experience before any role of mediation that you have done before?
Thank you, sir, for your question. A very good evening to everyone. This is my first time experience this kind of training, and I would like to say, like, before in Gyok. Mediation is mainly done by the Mangmis. And like in this training, Gyok administrative officers were included. And I would like to say, like, this is a very important training for us, and it is going to benefit us. And from us, the whole society, the women who can come forward, who can share their problems, they are going to benefit. Thank you.
Ms. Lim, now let me ask the same question to you. Did you experience any sort of role of mediatory role that you played in your Gyok? Or did anyone come to you for that matter? Did anyone come to you for any mediation?
Thank you, La. First of all, I would like to thank BVS for giving us such an opportunity to speak. La. Before I go to Sir's question, firstly, I would like to thank Honorable Royal Highness Ashi Somdechino Wangchu, the President, Honorable President of Bhutan National Legal Institute, for initiating such an important task. And also would like to, on behalf of all the participants, I also would like to thank the UNICEF and UNDP for funding the training, and also would like to thank the resource person, especially our 4 Drangpens, for sharing their professional skills and techniques which can be utilized in the mediation process. Now, coming to Dawa's question, yes, in the Gyok, especially in the Gyok, the people come forward for the mediation. But to be frank, before the Gyok administrative officers and the SOPers didn't attend such a training and did not get opportunity to attend such type of training. So that time we do not have skills and the necessary techniques which is required during the time of mediation. Then moreover, like during the time of mediation, it should be under the shadow. I can say like under the everything should be within the parameters of the law. That's why we are also not that much familiar with the laws, all the laws of like all the acts of Bhutan. So it's even if you, I'm willing to, even I'm interested to mediate their disputes, but due to that problem, I felt very sorry for the people. I have never experienced, but in our Gyok, after the last year's 2012, such same training conducted to Mangaps. In our case, most of the dispute resolution is carried out by the Mangaps. There I can see like the problems, the issues, what issues comes.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. I think we'll not just stick to the typical BBS format of panel discussion. So instead of letting all the panelists speak, we'll open the floor for discussion as well, so that we interact as much as possible. Anyone from the floor would like to add to this discussion anything, your views, opinions, or any questions for that matter? Anyone? Anyone? Or are you just happy with whatever we say, or whatever the panelists are going to say? Okay, for now, let's assume that you're happy with whatever the panelists are saying. Okay, Mr. Thachan, coming to you. Now, one of the things that many people understand, many people in the sense, the ones that we talk to understand that if this mediation skills and trainings given to the local leaders turn out to be successful, and if they initiate the skills and techniques given to them as expected by the organizers, then we might have lesser problems taken to the court, lesser litigants going to the court. So that is seen as an advantage. But on the other hand, there are some people who also tend to believe that by having this kind of skills given to local leaders might make people believe that they cannot take cases or matters to the court. And that's one misconception that people are developing. So if you could shed some light on this.
Thank you, Mr. Dawa. I think, as I said in the Dzongkha section, it is when we talk about mediation, mediation is a kind of or a method of dispute resolution. So therefore, when we talk about mediation, yes, Bhutan National Legal Institute, under the visual guidance of Her Royal Highness, we are trying to promote this mediation. Because Lord Buddha said that mediation is one of the most appropriate means of creating peace in a society. And Father Buddha said that it is much more important that a word promotes peace rather than 1,000 words which sparks disputes. So therefore, it's not in Bhutan, but I think all over in the world that mediation, it's not that, when we talk about mediation, that we are importing the principles and techniques of mediation from outside. We ourselves have, Bhutan has, and I think you will agree with me that it was in 1904, the first king, Ogyeng Wangchuk, he mediated some kind of our trade dispute between the British India and Tibet. So therefore, mediation, when we talk about mediation, it's not that when the mediation becomes successful through the exemplary job of our local leaders, that the case would die up. And one thing I want to make quite clear that we cannot mediate any civil case, criminal case. So therefore, what they can mediate is only the civil cases. Civil cases when we talk about like marriages, property cases, inheritance, something like that, but not any case of criminal cases, criminal nature. So therefore, I think that when our local leaders, in their effort to mediate people, that the case will not come to the court. And also, when we talk about mediation, it's not that mediation is competing with the litigation law. It's an alternative to court litigation law. So therefore, I think probably that it may be that I think we need to see for ourselves whether this will happen in the course of time.
Yes.
Thank you.
Maybe a follow-up question to Mr. Thachan. Now, you said mediation is mainly to bring peace.
Yes.
Now, should one understand that going to court would not bring peace, or going to court might sometimes promote disharmony in the society?
Yes.
Should people understand that way? Because even to go to court, people believe that you're going to court for some justice, and nobody will go to court for injustice.
Yeah, that's right. Because in the process of litigation, it is right base. In the court, the person who has the right, he'll win the case. The other party who doesn't have the right, he'll lose the case. So therefore, we have created enemy. The person who loses the case, he'll attribute something to the judge, either some kind of biasness, either he's impartial, that he's not fair. So therefore, he doesn't think of that the merit of his case. He'll always blame the court. But when it comes to the mediation, the parties themselves is deciding the case. The mediator doesn't make any case law. He doesn't the case. He's there to facilitate as to how the two parties, through their mutual satisfaction, can arrive at mutual settlement agreement law. So therefore, in mediation, both the parties are winning, but in a court case, it's the nature of the case that one will win, one will lose. So therefore, it will get some kind of a wound in their heart, which will never heal in their lives. So therefore, some kind of disharmony is being created. But in mediation, both the parties are happy at the end. So therefore, there's no question of vindictiveness or angerness in their mind. So therefore,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
Ms. Kamacharan, ready to go back to Kaling and make peace in society where you make both the parties happy? Did you get enough skills from this training so that you deliver what you are expected of?
Yes, La, thank you so much, La. Firstly, I just want to share my past experience, La. Before I came here, I have been handling some cases in Gyeongsla. It was very hard and it was very tough for me to handle those cases, La, because I didn't have any training as a mediator, La. But now, after...
But it come to you.
Yes, La. But after this training, yes, La, I'll go back to Gyeong and I'll share my experience not only to the people who come for cases, La, but to the communities also, La. Because the first day when I came here, and what I expected was just to learn about Dzongkha Nandip, mediation, and the concept of mediation. The concept of mediation, before coming here, I didn't knew that the concept of mediation was to where there is win and win situation. Before coming here, I have been handling cases, and at last the parties, one has to lose and one have to win. And
But in short, you are going to go back,
Yes,
and
la.
now that you have better skills,
yes,
you are ready to deliver what you are expected
yes,
of.
yes. After this training, I have gained so many skills and techniques. Not only skills and techniques in mediation, but side by side, what I have learned from this training is I have learned how to be a good observer as a mediator, how to as a good listener, active listener, and how to communicate with the people. Because as a mediator, it's not only that we just sit in between two parties and talk a lot in front of them, but we have to know a lot as a mediator.
Okay, thank you. Anyone from the floor? Lessa. Sangelham.
Kokap chilenge se shunibela. Takas kam ngachi tintrani gi kablo tapin chuki velo of time se suila. Tani tachingoro ya kokap chilen bedepto. Tusedi namisme josu chiba yasi se shugela. Te samcha lesha shuni. Te tatu tewabe shunimila. Ta tintrani nalu tewadi shura shuse se shunibela. Tapin sulu ngachagi mala tewaki kungi ale toksel nobe. Ngachiki tewadi shusei. Te yaku madam sumbudi Dr. Gupen Sumpudi Nachara na Joandar Bemi Dangra Benidigi, the Kulu Tomi se Shunibela. There's some church kegela. The Tata Tungachana Duk Jandra Lezengi Huntule, Nitongi Nizumi Ani Nisugotin Tap Builder, Tangacha Kutin Chitrishum Gara Tuki Topari Jidung Segi and some church Shunibela. The Rachinta Amsusulra Joandar Chi Betani, Geogna Sopa Poge, Mola, the Mommy Poge, the Aneboda, that Tuchikiku Amsusulra Katemchibe Tokobinasi, Tujere no Dungsela. The Aneboda Dangaja Yama Geo Nijangana Lunonula, Meong Ajirimbochi Chugi Nahi, Niktong Chunilu. The Analu Geo Nijanganalu Poge. Nijanga salute ninalungaja amtu momi chuchi bel hab jama to masu be se shunibela te da dusane junalu chokpa be chashu shumigi netangdi ta monsu chingaja amzu untule dula ta ane boda ngachagi ni kokap lenidi ta da tu ngachagi chokpa be debi kapsulu chomchi memashimda nongkha nondiki jondardi danala pangachi misichinalu Tandu came over Chancellor Shapto Shunigi named Kyo and Kokapchi, Bombera Shaise Shunibela. Tetaru Lalugi, the Amsukagai, Diakasumbeaki Jabe, tap setani, Nisulura Chitengobina Noka Nondise, Lalu, Sijletendi U, two machimpa, Zimchunalu Jume Ula, the Inchi Minchi, Timgidensa. Jubera Tichua Gamidi Mibu, Nibodaru, Talalu, Machimba, Mizabojin, two gom matres, Shunibela, the Kungi Huntuleru, Timkonalu Chongo de Bojin, Dzongkha Timgi Densa, Nile Chito Timgi Demsa, Nito Timgi Densa, Sosulukura, Jensiki Sago do Mola, the Niboda Tangi Samcha do Durchishuachin, the Nisunale Kara, Malebetza, Yahu, Jutibero, Ju Dentasudi, and Tusi Sagodi, Gapam Chilu, Jomchi Imes Shunibela, that does to say Judos and Bangachiri Messidia, Junime Aneboda. The Asiris of Bajis Gyongaki Person Migilche Dusuni Messi Shunibela.
Kadiche, thank you so much. I think you, Mr. Premonchu, you did touch on why you have trained this particular group of local leaders, especially the females. And I think just to pick on this, once an individual or once the parties decide to go for mediation within their own community, you have trained the Mangmis, you have trained Geok administrative officers, you have trained Chokpas, and Gubs would be there. There could be some senior retired civil servants or those who could play the mediatory role. Those individuals will also be there in the community. So the choice is with the individuals or the parties to go for it, go for any of these individuals mentioned, or should they go to a particular individual for mediation?
Thank you, Dawa. This is a very important question. To answer your question directly in the interest of time, the parties has their own choice. As you have said, if they have more confidence in one of not even the local leaders, but if the party chooses to mediate their dispute by one of the eldest member of the community, they have the right to go and to settle their dispute. So in this line, it doesn't mean that when Bhutan National Legal Institute awards certificate to the trained mediators, it is not mandatory that those mediators who hold a certificate are the only person to mediate in the community. That is not the idea. Our idea is to promote Tilam for Shide. Okay? So meaning the amicable settlement of dispute, then that will lead to the peace and harmony in the society. So with this objective, why we are training these women local leaders is to enhance the number of mediators, women mediators in the community. But it doesn't mean that men are barred from involving themselves in the settlement of dispute. As I've said, it is totally and independently based on the confidence of the public. So therefore, there is no bias from the legal institute, male and female, and opportunities will be at the doorsteps of every household in the interest of not only to disseminate the legal provisions or the legal issues, but in order to make the judicial services in the interest of justice, to make it accessible to all the citizens of Bhutan, which is the vision of His Majesty the King. And that in order to fulfill this mission, Her Royal Highness Ajsong Deshmonshu, the President of Bhutan National Legal Institute, has been tirelessly working on this. And this is the result that we are seeing tangibly by having the women local leaders from the 11 Dzongkhas in Paro.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. Yes, sir.
Ani dakchong kupin khaira le thewachi sessionila ta dakchong kupin de khaira tare dinthani gi na kona le jongda de sumat to bera thopchi sessioni na nga che chabra ta na le phara ran sri geok na hi bishimda na dakchong kupin de sigi mangmi de sulu khade bera charu beni gi rewa yoga se samcha china gi dakchong kupin kai gi sonro tup sessioni na.
Anyone from the floor would like to take this question? The question is very simple. Now you have been well trained. Once you go back to your geogs, what kind of support are you going to render to the Mangmis? Because Mangmis are initially trained and supposed to shoulder the role of mediator. Anyone? Okay. Lemo?
Losula Kadinchela. Diwa ke nameluda chigi diwa di tanamsme lejum chi message unila. Da tachi ngagi shudo zumbe ila gondo shudo zumbe tato sense la ani nanghana digi jonda mathawi matho sense de ala ngachi geu ta chungo pendisu geu nalula ta ngachara nanghana di chabi ki kablula kachira berwe ngachara timda tindigi be begobela dibele ta ngachi jonda mathawi ge hemadi ngachilu te dizume ge riktel da denen riktel disu gi namnung disu kane mila dibele tindigi te tato sense da ngaragi geu na zumchi bewachinla hemadi la ngachara gabye bedi duila dele chokpa da chiok nalu imbachin da chokpa disuge bedi dula denen da nahi namro niktun chuni gi dizume gi nanghana digi jonda di mangablu ti nijanga geu nijanga ge mangablu ti shimle di nahile gochu di da geu nalu kachira biru chenuk la ngachara nanghana di chaba om disuge ara tenga geu na bewachinda mashuchi di da mangagira cha shudi se shunila da dale la tangachi da dizumegi da jongda di ngache da dinthani gi rinute namsame rikpa namse rikchel ta umaru la shara thopchi se shunila da logdi ngachara geog na lo hebdalula dizume ngachara na dari jongda na ngachara lhammi rikchel di gera la ma geog na jushina lela da lalindi kade dada thamni gi rewayula di ngachi gi mapa genkhu imela ta ngachi gi di bera bego se shunila tenen ta ngachara pha ngai geok na bewa chin la mangap ngachi gi geok na la dizumi chen chamchim disule shara moni la da nendel gi kole tab ma deulo sa keu gopshe kole tab ma deulo te angkhasil chamchim disule shara modi la te ba ngachara mangap de te tabuna bora da dichen ug di se digi be de ba da kole ta isagila so so bera begobe te debe kachilo dise te tabuna bora thop miswe de dileten digi be te chen ug la luchila achi interembe lidi se junila te da nalepa ngachara na lok joshina lela te ngachara mangablu matu tubbe charo be te ngachara misigi rededila ta misigi nokshi disu kate dada senilu charo bedigi be te sesubbera te zodigi be ngachara gi yogi nanghenalu shidedi kate dada jusupchi be benegi te rewa lejumera yisi shugela.
The first thing that you do after going back is to resolve all these pending cases and try and promote happiness as much as possible within your community, right? Ms. Kenchulam, what are some of the challenges that you see as a female local leader while you try to carry out the responsibilities of being a mediator? Any challenges that you see? One challenge that I would presume is women are considered emotionally more sensitive than the men. Not that men are free of emotions, but because you are emotionally sensitive, do you think you can be really focused when it comes to dealing with cases? You know, some displays emotion and that affects you. Don't you see that as a challenge?
For me, like I've never meditated before.
But once you go back?
But from this training, like I've been trained to mediate in the Kyo, and like now I'm ready. I'm ready to mediate, and like through my experience from this training, like I would like to say that in our society, like women are very reserved, very shy, and in those days, like mediators are all men, and women, like if they have a problem, like domestic problem, battery abuse, etc., they can't confront in front of a mediator. It's like now we are trained, and my challenge in the Kiwuk to prove me as a mediator, women mediator, I would like to say that for like in the I would like to say that it'll be a challenge because I've never mediated, and my mangmi has been mediating for
but
the
you
past.
gained enough skills.
Yeah. Now from this training, I have gained enough skills, and like I would like to say that those people who come to mediate, and then they say, "Oh, now this Geok administrative officer, she's going to mediate," and they will think if she will be able to mediate. But now I'm ready and I can mediate, and my challenge is to prove to the people that a women mediator can mediate and can create peace and harmony in a society.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ms. Karmacharan, now one thing that people would expect is, as a party that seeks mediation by you as a Geok administrative officer, you know, you might have some far-flung chioks in your Geok where you need to walk for hours and hours. Would you do that? Because you as Geok administrative officer, mediation is not your full-time job. You have your own responsibilities. And let's say mediation is just a side business for you. So when people come to you seeking for your assistance for mediation, and that they would want you to come to their place, which is almost 2 to 3 hours walk, would you do that? Because that would entail some sacrifice on your part.
Thank you, La. I'm very happy for this question, La. Not only as a mediator, but as an Geok administrative officer. I would love to handle this question, La. Not only as a mediator, I would love to visit Geoks, which is far away from Geok, but in Geok, we the Geok administrative officers are focal persons of so many things such as Kidu focal person, disaster focal person, and even time to time we have to visit sites like construction of farm road, construction of BHU, and lots. So in that cases, that construction of building wouldn't come in front of our Geog office, but we have to visit that place. Such like this, as a mediator, till now in our system, this has not been experienced, because the systematic way at present, in present situation is the cases are handled by Sokpas in Chio, and if the case is not settled in Chiosla, the case is forwarded to Geog, and which is handled by Mangmisla. But now, what I feel is that the people who are very far from Geog office, myself and Mangmi, I would urge and I would request Mangmi to go with me as a friend, because I alone cannot go to that far place. So I would love to visit that place and handle the case as a mediator to make a very harmonious and peaceful in the communities.
Thank you. Lessa. We have someone at the back, please. Okay, please introduce yourself.
I'm Ugin Pam, working as Geog Edim officer under Chang Geog, Tempo Dzongkha. My question.
Okay, please go ahead.
Dasho, why do you think empowering women is important at the grassroots level?
Why do you think empowering women is important?
To answer your question directly, who is our mother? Who is our mother? Women, right? So therefore, women at different levels, in towns and cities, in rural areas, educated, uneducated, right? And women who has exposure, and women who are introvert, extrovert. So with this changing scenario of socio-economic development, of course political in our context, and of course with the opening up of our economy to the modern world, to outside countries, and lots of influences and demonstration effect from other countries. So therefore, the empowerment of women, and of course men. At the same time, we are not saying that men do not need empowerment. Empowerment is required for everyone, but yet, given the biological difference between men and women, given as the issue has been raised over the emotions, the difference in emotions, difference in biological status. So with this, and more importantly, the international scenario, though such scenarios are not happening in Bhutan, but as I've said, the influences in the outside Bhutan. So therefore, there is lots of forum in the international area that women need empowerment. But all these factors influencing outside Bhutan is not there in Bhutan. Yet we have to be in line with some of the international convention, some of the international covenants, and as we are open up, we have to have some kind of alignment with which is happening in the international arena. So therefore, though all those factors, negative factors which are available, which are influencing outside Bhutan, may not be available in Bhutan, yet we have to be one, as the saying goes, the globe is becoming smaller and it's shrinking through lots of connection through IT. So therefore, we need empowerment of women in Bhutan too.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We have 2 questions from the floor. Yes, sir.
Last la karinche te ngagi to tuo mis shuni la tuo de ngachi dintani gi nanalu ngachara tashu disugi matutu be aluka kutem de beratin be nai shuni la tisukar machi tholo matam tangari gi disam chei shuni la ta ni tongchuni lo roma mi shashab lo ni zumbi jondar na be da tatun je pana khabar nam smi du shuni la ta ni zumbe ngachi sopa geo da chungu pendisu ngachi te tichu gudang bai shuni la ta ngari gi samchi ta ni le pha lo tabu jindura lo atara de te nango shuni minu lo ni sumsugi panaru ngachi lutoro de junda thepe thopsubachin ngachi chio na le phadi de case de themthen sara de me shunila tani boda ngachi dinthani gi nangkyo na le de ngachi bemeda amchi mide ta achi anizumbe begob du semedi jurche da lechi di besu thomme shunila tot tani le phaya ngachi gi jundar de thopsubachin de ngachi nami semeka dincheni me shunimi
No, sir. Kariche. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Kezang. I work as a Geok Administrative Officer of Tote Geok under Paro Dzongkha. My question goes to Tashupe Mala.
No, sir.
Since all my colleagues said that our drafts are all being cleared within the 2 weeks. And then my question is that what is the difference between the Nangkha Nangdi agreement and the general agreement? I mean, like, what are the elements required for the Nangkha Nangdi element?
No,
We are
sir.
not aware of that.
No, sir. No, sir.
Thank you, Kazam, for your question. And I believe your question is very relevant and good question too. Yes, before the enactment of the Alternative Dispute Resolution Act 2013, there wasn't any difference between the general agreement and the agreement as a result of mediation. But now, with the enactment of this act, there is a little bit difference. And the difference, to put it directly, is with regard to the witnesses or the guarantors or jabbi. In the earlier, on all the agreement, we need to have witnesses, minimum of 2 witnesses, and signed by parties as well as the witnesses. But now, with the enactment of this, when it comes to mediation agreement, mediators required to sign and 2 parties required to sign, but there is no requirement of witnesses. And therefore, this legislation talks about a non-compliance, not requirement of the Evidence Act. So therefore, I think the interpretation would be direct, that whatever the elements of valid agreement enshrined in the Evidence Act may not be applicable in total to the agreement of mediation.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Mr. Thachin, maybe you can also field the question, first question, that is, will you organize some advanced training needs? Will you take care of some advanced training needs of the female local leaders as well, now that they've been trained?
I think it's a matter of policy and also that budget provision that will be available to the institute. So therefore, at the moment, I cannot make any commitment, because for such training we need huge amount of money, huge amount of budget. So therefore, I think my director will agree with me that I think we need to explore financial support from other external agencies. Thank you.
Okay.
If I may,
Okay, please,
Yeah.
briefly.
Agreement, I think, as raised by Kazang, I think just to supplement director that when it comes to general agreement, we need to affix a legal stamp. But when it comes to mediation, it's not required. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Final comment. Please.
I'm Tash Palden. I'm working as a Geok Administrative Officer of Tramisi Geok under Mongar Dzongkha. Well, my question is, since Nangkha Nangdi existed from immemorial time, why required Act 2013 Alternative Dispute Resolution?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Why required now? But this has been there since Jabru's time, right?
Yes. I mean the Act, 2013 Act.
Okay, you're talking about Act.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Pema.
Thank you. That's a good question. bringing difference between the earlier part of mediation and then now. Bhutan has mediation from time immemorial, and now why we need to have ADR Act? That was the question. Now, as I've said, with the change in time, with the change in socio and political scenario, I think we need to have the legislation in place. And particularly now, when we emphasize on this legislation, if I could comprehend properly, that particular legislation talks about two things. One is with regard to arbitration, and other one is it talks about negotiated settlement. And under this negotiated settlement, they talk about even mediation. And here I would like to take this opportunity when it comes to the nomenclature. So far we have been talking about Nakhanandi, but with the enactment of that particular legislation, now this Nakhanandi, the terminology of Nakhanandi has been changed to Bardum. Bardum is exactly as the Nakhanandi, but Nakhanandi has been now termed to negotiated settlement. And arbitration has been termed as Kentum Dumdichingi Chamka, something like that. So now with the change, the arbitration has been focused in that legislation totally towards the commercial, in the commercial aspect. Yes. And negotiated settlement in the rural as well as in the towns and cities where there is no commercial activities. So I think...
Yes, I think we'll have to wrap up. We're running short of time. Thank you so much for your time. Thought of picking on the kind of preventive role that all of you could play, because you have now some legal basis or you have some knowledge on legal provisions after this training. So the request would be also to talk about the preventive roles that you'll be playing once you go back to Geoks. Sorry, I couldn't bring this up because we ran short of time. But anyways, thank you so much for all your views and comments, all the panelists, and also for your wonderful suggestions and comments from the floor. Thank you all for joining People's Voice tonight from Dzongkha. And with the hope that you all go back to your Geoks and deliver the goods. For 2 weeks you have been trained. So, with the purpose that you will deliver the goods. Wish you all the luck. Thank you so much for joining this program. Thank you.